What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Firewood at the Furnace. If it's your first time here, my name is Brad, and we put new videos out every single Wednesday morning and on the first Friday of every month. So as you can see, although there are some dark clouds behind me, this is the first day in 5 solid days that we have not had any rain. Now, I don't know, we may have a shower later this afternoon. We'll have to wait and see, but it's the first dry day we've had in a while, so I'm going to make the most of it. Now, one cool thing is that after 5 days of rain, I am still able to work in the woodyard here. I'm going to show you around kind of the aftermath of the monsoon type weather we've been having, and I will show you what we're getting into today, so stick around. In last week's episode on Wednesday, I kind of showed you around the final product of the gravel pad here and told you where some areas were. You can see after about 6 inches of rain, we do have a lot of mud, but it's down in the rows where we do not have to work. So the two problem areas that I talked to you about was over here next to the skid loader and the yard trailer. You can see a little puddle of water there that is not draining. The yard trailer is sitting on some high ground, some wood pieces of old scrap firewood and some mulch and some wood chips that are still left over, so we'll have to clean that up and get that water moving away. And then the other problem area that I told you about was over here behind the splitter, and you can see the water is a little bit pulled up back here. I still got to clear that out. Like I said, I haven't had much time to work over here with all the weather we've been having since last week's video, but the good thing is that typically I would not be able to work over here for a couple days at this point without tromping through the mud. But for what we're going to do today, we are going to be working on the pad where most of the work gets done. See, I got a nice little parking area for the other dump trailer and the dump truck now, so that's kind of out of my way and not sitting in the driveway where it used to be. But this is what we're going to get into today. Before all the rain came, Chaz had a little job with the tree service, had some cherry and locust on it. So it wasn't he told me it wasn't a full load, but I said for cherry and locust, I'll come get it. So we've got a few logs here in the trailer that I want to get completely processed today. We'll get that dumped off, fire up the 500i, get them all cut, then fire up the 1222 and get them split. That's the plan for today. So not a whole lot here to process, but I wanted to get this done because I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. I've got a whole pile of wood, probably 2.5 of Chaz's dump truck loads of logs waiting for me up at his property. If you didn't follow all that, while I was doing this gravel pad area, I was stockpiling all the wood from the jobs at his place. And now that this is done, I've got to haul those logs in here and get them off of his property. So this little bit of wood here, it won't take me long to process. We'll get that done and we will be ready to haul some more logs in here, big loads. I do have, before the end of the video, I've got an update for you on the Grapple truck, and it's good news. So let's get the saw fired up and we'll get this done. So, you remember before I put the gravel down, I had concerns about stone getting caught in the bark and hitting my salt. So, as I normally do, I cut halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, then roll the log and finish my cut. Keep the salt out of the dirt, out of the stones. But you can see here, when I rolled the log over, some of the stones came with it. So if that's how it's going to be, I'll be able to see that, and if there's a stone in the way of a cut, I can just knock it off. So this is the first time I've cut on this pad. Kind of curious to see how it's going to go, and for that first log, if that's kind of what I'm going to see, then it's not a big deal. Made pretty short work of that little pile of locust and cherry. So now we're ready to split it on the 1222. I did have to get the old reliable 261 out because I don't know what I hit with the 500. It was in a piece of locust and all of a sudden it just quit cutting. So I don't know if I hit metal or if I hit a stone. I haven't really looked to see yet. My initial look, I didn't see anything that stuck out to me, so maybe it was a stone, I'm not sure. But the 261, I recently changed the drive sprocket on and changed the bar to run a full-size chain on it. So it's got a 3/8 full-size chain running on it now. Some people have said that it slows the 261 down a little bit. After having the 500i in your hand and then picking up the 261, it's kind of hard to tell if it slowed it down much, because naturally you're going to notice the slowdown moving away from the 500. But anyway, the 261 finished it up for me. I'll get the splitter uncovered and we'll knock this out real quick. That little load is done, all cut, all split. 1222 ran fantastic as usual. And we got a little load in the trailer here. Locust and cherry. It won't take long to get stacked either, but like I said, I wanted to get that done because I've got big loads to haul in here. So get that little bit of mess out of the way. And now I'm going to deal with this sawdust laying in the yard. The Badger backpack blower should be able to take care of that in short order. So let's get that out and blow this off. And yes, it is raining again. A day I thought we were going to be able to stay dry. About halfway through the splitting session there, it started drizzling rain, and now it's just a steady drizzle. So I'm good with that. Now I don't have to blow this off every single time I cut, but today was a little bit unique because it is drizzling rain, and I'd rather get it off of it while it's dry than to let it get wet and kind of soak in and stick to the rocks. So blowing it down in there won't be a problem at all. Will actually hopefully help some grass grow, but it's off the stone, so I don't have to worry about that breaking down and creating mud on the stone. And I'll just, what did it take, 3 minutes to do that there real quick? So not bad at all. Let me give you an update on the Grapple truck now before we go. So this journey has been quite lengthy. Waiting on this Grapple truck that, you know, Chaz and I went down to North Carolina to pick up probably almost a year ago now. We lost the motor coming home and sent it to a shop to get the motor worked on, and we've had delay after delay after delay. But the truck is running now after they got the new motor in it. We ended up having to put a different turbo on the truck, change some injectors, a new ECM, and now a new exhaust. The mechanic found when he started the truck up with the new motor in it, it was really down on power, and the exhaust was getting pretty hot. So took the exhaust apart, and I'll show you some pictures here of what the inside of the muffler and the exhaust look like. Full of metal. I mean, just clogged up. Would not let any air escape the engine, which is probably why we lost the first motor anyway. My guess is what happened is probably the turbo came apart inside of it at some point before we purchased it. The metal from that turbo went all through the motor. They put a new turbo on it, got it running, and sold it. So we came up the road with a bunch of metal in the motor, and obviously a bunch of metal that made it through the motor into the exhaust, and that's what we ended up with. But they said the truck is running fantastic now, lots of power, running really good. So probably today or tomorrow it will be heading to the hydraulic shop to have all the hydraulics going over on it, checking all the lines to make sure it's ready to go. So fingers crossed. I know we've been saying it for quite a while. This truck should be on the road here soon. That's going to be it for today. Taylor's playing softball this afternoon, hopefully, if the rain lets up a little bit and they can get the field squared away. So I'm going to get cleaned up and get ready to check her out playing some softball. I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you back here at 7 a.m. next Wednesday.